The room was silent except for the hum of the machine and the doctor's occasional murmurs as she adjusted the one Taehyung didn't sit. He stood, arms crossed, watching the monitor with an intensity that made Jungkook's skin prickle. The ultrasound screen flickered, showing indistinct shapes that meant nothing to Jungkook but seemed to hold Taehyung's full attention. It was unnerving, being so exposed, physically and emotionally, while Taehyung observed like a judge at a trial. "Everything looks good so far," the doctor said, breaking the silence. "Your health is excellent, Mr. Jian. We'll need the blood work to confirm, but you're a strong candidate." Jungkook exhaled, relief mingling with the tension coiled in his chest. But Taehyung's expression didn't change, his eyes flicking from the screen to Jungkook. "Strong," he repeated, almost to himself, as if testing the word. The doctor stepped out to prepare the blood work, leaving them alone. Jungkook sat up, pulling the gown tighter around himself, suddenly hyper-aware of how vulnerable he looked. Taehyung hadn't moved, his gaze still fixed on him, searching. "What?" Jungkook asked, his voice sharper than he meant. "Why do you keep looking at me like that?" Taehyung tilted his head, his expression unreadable. "You're unexpected," he said slowly. "Most people in your position would be intimidated, begging for approval. But you," he paused, his eyes narrowing. "You push back." Jungkook's cheeks burned, but he held Taehyung's gaze. "Maybe because I'm tired of being treated like I don't belong here. You keep calling me a mistake, but I'm the one on this table, doing this for you." For a moment, Taehyung was silent, his face a mask. Then, to Jungkook's shock, he let out a low chuckle, the sound rich and disarming. "You're not what I planned for, Jian." "Jungkook. That's not necessarily a bad thing." The words hung between them, heavy with unspoken meaning. Jungkook's heart raced, caught between confusion and a strange, reckless spark of curiosity. Before he could respond, the doctor returned, breaking the moment. Taehyung stepped back, his demeanor shifting back to cold professionalism as if nothing had happened. "Finish the tests," Taehyung said to the doctor, his voice clipped. "Send me the results directly." He glanced at Jungkook one last time, his eyes lingering a fraction too long. "We'll talk soon." As Taehyung left, the door clicking shut behind him, Jungkook let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. The ultrasound wand was cold against his skin, the doctor's voice a distant hum, but all he could think about was Taehyung's chuckle, his words. "You're not what I planned for." It felt like a challenge, a promise, and a warning all at once. As the needle pricked his arm for the blood draw, Jungkook's mind raced. The leak, the scrutiny, Taehyung's world, it was all closing in. But beneath the fear, there was something else, a flicker of determination to prove he wasn't just a mistake. Not to Taehyung, and not to himself. The cafe was quiet in the late afternoon, the lunch rush long gone and the evening crowd yet to arrive. Jungkook leaned against a counter, wiping it down for the third time in 10 minutes, his movements mechanical. His mind was elsewhere, on the sterile clinic, the cold press of the ultrasound wand, and Kim Taehyung's low, disarming chuckle that still echoed in his ears. The memory sent a shiver through him, equal parts unease and something he wasn't ready to name. "Earth." To Jungkook, Hoshyak's voice snapped him out of his thoughts. The older barista stood across the counter, arms crossed, his usual grin replaced with a concerned frown. "You've been cleaning that spot like it personally offended you. What's going on, man?" Jungkook sighed, tossing the rag aside. He glanced around the empty cafe, ensuring no one was within earshot, then leaned closer, Oh babe, I did something big. Like, really big? Ho Xiao's brows shot up, his curiosity peaked. Big like you got a new tattoo without telling me, or big like you're moving to Busan bigger? Jungkook's voice dropped to a whisper, his fingers twisting the hem of his apron. I signed up for a surrogacy program. For a lot of money. Enough to pay for mom's treatments and get Junghan through school. Ho Xiao's jaw dropped, his eyes wide. Wait, what? Surrogacy? Like, you're gonna? He gestured vaguely, his face a mix of shock and awe. Jungkook, that's huge. How did this even happen? It's complicated, Jungkook said, his cheeks flushing. He hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. The confidentiality clause in Taehyung's contract loomed over him, but Ho Seok was his best friend, the one person who'd been there through every late-night hospital visit and every breakdown over bills. There was a mix-up at the agency. I got matched with this high-profile client. He's intense. Ho Seok leaned forward, his voice low and teasing. Intense how? Like, scary intense or hot intense? Jungkook's face burned, and he swatted Ho Seok's arm. Stop it. He's just powerful. Cold. Like he owns the world and knows it. He paused, his mind flashing to Taehyung's piercing gaze, the way his presence seemed to fill every space. But sometimes, it's like he's, I don't know, seeing me. Really seeing me? Ho Seok's grin softened into something more serious. Sounds like he's got you rattled. What's his deal? Jungkook shook his head, glancing down at the counter. He's Kim Taehyung, CEO of Kim Enterprises. Billionaire. The kind of guy who doesn't make mistakes, except, apparently, me. Ho Seok let out a low whistle. Kim Taehyung? Dude, he's, like, soul royalty. I saw him on the news once, tearing into some reporter like it was nothing. You're really tangled up with him? Jungkook nodded, his stomach twisting. Yeah. And now there's some leak about the surrogacy. His people are freaking out, and I'm just trying to keep up. Ho Seok reached across the counter, squeezing Jungkook's shoulder. Hey, you're tougher than you think. You've been carrying your family for years. It's just another challenge. But, his voice softened, his eyes searching. You sure you're okay? This sounds like it's messing with your head. Jungkook opened his mouth to say he was fine, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, he thought of Taehyung's cryptic words, "You're not what I planned for," and the way they'd made his heart race. I don't know, he admitted quietly. He's so closed off. But then he says things, looks at me like I'm more than just a contract. And I don't know what to do with that. Ho Seok's expression softened further, but before he could respond, the bell above the cafe door chimed. Jungkook glanced up, expecting a customer, but his breath caught as a tall man in a dark coat stepped inside. He wasn't Taehyung, but the air of authority and sono stati rimasi tendri per mantenere il conteggio del registro.